people in here saying stands only, stands only. How are you tonight, Solar?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I was so excited to do this. When you asked me,
Hey,
I was like, yes.
oh, well, this is an amazing thing. Like I said, I haven't gotten the proper time to really get to know who you are and speak to you, but I pop into your stream. I've rated you a couple times, and every time I go in there, the community shows you so much love. It's amazing what you've been able to do. I remember not too long ago, actually, you broke 1,000 followers, and I think you're well past that now.
Not well past, but you know what? I'm just thankful for everyone who comes by and chooses to follow and chooses to even stop by to lurk everything. So all that, it's appreciative. You know, like, hopefully,
Hey, you have plenty of people in here already showing up and showing out that already give you so much love. For those of that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you, and what do you do?
Sorry, those are my dogs in the background.
Is that Rudy?
That's Rudy. Rudy, you want to say hi?
Rudy! Oh, it is not a solar stream, a solar witchy stream without Rudy popping up.
Rudy, I know.
Yeah.
Right? He's busy protecting the house. He's very scary.
Hey,
yes,
I could hear him. Sounds ferocious.
Sorry. But yes, my name is Solar. People call me Solar. People call me Witchy. But you can call me Steph as well. I am a comedy variety streamer on Twitch. I've been streaming almost a year now, which is crazy. Next month's gonna be my year. Soy Latina, orgullosamente. Soy colombiana, americana. I'm a Colombian American. I am a first generation. So I was born here, born and raised in Brooklyn, and I love playing video games. As corny as that sounds, I grew up playing, and yeah, so that's...
Hey, and we are going to get into so much about you. First, you got to tell me, how did you get your Twitch name? Solar Witchy, what's it all about?
So it actually all started around COVID. I, of course, at the time COVID started, I was 23, and I was so bored. Obviously, like as everyone was, and I was part of those people that was like, oh, I'm not going to download TikTok. TikTok is never going to be as good as Vine. And I downloaded it and I was hooked. And then from there, I met an amazing friend of mine, Leggy, and she's pretty big on TikTok. She's in the occult witch community. And from there, I became her video editor and a part of that community. And then towards the end of 2020, we started playing Among Us and like a bunch of stuff together. And on Discord, my name was Solar Witchy because I love the sun. I love yellow. My last name is Naranjo, which roughly translates to orange. So orange is also a fruit of the sun. So I've always had big ties. I'm a Leo. So I've always had big ties to the sun. And I love occult and tarot cards. I have like 3 tarot decks in my drawers and stuff like that. So I call myself a solar witch. So I just want to be Solar Witchy. And so that's how it started.
And the content you were creating on TikTok originally was like that, like tarot cards and astrology?
No, it's funny because no, I didn't create any content on TikTok that was even associated to occult. I just consumed it. I was part of the community, and I wasn't creating it, but my friend was. So I was editing her videos that were stuff like her doing tarot card pulls and like talking about crystals and like working with candles and making candles and oils and stuff like that. So that's basically like what I was helping her do, and the videos that I was editing for her.
And that's how you chose the name?
Yeah, that's how I chose the name Solar Witch.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, that's amazing. Real quick to everybody in the chat, thank you so much for coming. If I don't get to your comments right away, it's because I don't want to interrupt Solar while she's giving an answer. So far, I've been trying to figure out the right balance between interacting with chat and then also giving the guest the proper amount of time to fluctuate their thoughts out. So if I don't get to you right away, just know that we'll get to you at some point. I promise you. We do want to give the guest plenty of time to just speak and not be interrupted. So then tell us about your eventual transition to Twitch. So you got on Twitch just because you were playing Among Us, or what made you like start streaming?
So it started because my friend and I, Ray, who's Leggy, we loved playing Among Us, and we had this like original like pack of people that we used to always play with. We called them the Rat Frat. And we would we would play, and then we'd make these like funny jokes, and like we had like all these inside stuff. We're like, what if one of us started streaming? And at the time, Ray didn't have the equipment to do any of that, so I was like, hey, like I could do it. I had a good computer compared to like what a MacBook was, because I was a video editor, so I needed like a more robust kind of thing. So I started streaming, and it just took off, and it was literally at the beginning only Among Us. It was only Among Us. Rudy.
What's up, Rudy? Rudy really wants to steal the spotlight. Rudy, we promise we'll get you.
He's an attention rat.
So that's amazing. So from the beginning of streaming, you always had, I imagine, like a good amount, like a solid core of people that were in the chat. So it didn't feel like you were just talking to yourself when you were streaming at first?
You know what? Well, because she had such a big following, when I would play with her, I did get like a significant. So at first, like I would start off with 18 viewers within my first couple streams, and when I wasn't streaming with her, it was like 8 or 10. So yeah, I started building up, and then I started as Among Us started going away, I started playing other stuff with people in the chat, and then more and more people started coming. I started showing up to other people's community because I started getting so into Twitch and like watching content on Twitch, because I genuinely liked it way more than watching TV or movies or shows. So from there, I started making more friends, and then I started being a part of other people's communities, and they started becoming a part of mine. And then it just started becoming a snowball effect, where it was to a point where I was doing it on my own, and I was having so much fun, and it wasn't even just Among Us anymore. It was so much more. It went from that to Little Nightmares, to all of us watching movies, to Valorant, to Slime Rancher, to a bunch of stuff. Honestly, like I've lost track of all the games that I've played over the past year. So
hey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the follows, Janelli, as well as Derek. Thank you so much. Like I said, if I don't get to the proper shout outs right away, I will get to you. Dry Cornbread in the house. What up, dog? How you been? What's it? Hey, and then tell me about creating your Discord community. So it sounds like you were already familiar with this, like with these platforms, but until when did you feel comfortable, like it's time for me to start my own Discord community? It's time for people, when did it, about how much time was it till you started doing that?
So it's funny that you say that. So I was originally admin of this occult Discord that had 17,000 members. And then when I started, I originally made a joint Discord that was called Witchy, which with another streamer whose name had witch in it. So it was a shared one, but I wasn't the owner of it. So that was originally, that's where I had everyone. People were joining, people had come in from that other server that I was a part of, the one that had 17,000. And it was small, it was simple, and there wasn't much, but there's people coming in, like I had it all, both of us had it all set up. And then because we didn't maintain it as probably as well, I didn't maintain it as probably as well as I should have. It actually, fun fact, got deleted. The whole server got deleted for breaching a terms of service, which they never told me.
You never found out which one?
I never found out what it was because I wasn't the owner, so I didn't get the emails for it.
Oh, what the hell? So did you ever ask your friend?
I asked her, and she said that she emailed to appeal, but usually they don't say what it was. So whatever the reason was, we don't know. I personally think that it's Derek's fault in the chat. No, I'm kidding.
He said, and I like that before you said that, he already said not my fault. It makes you look way guilty when you say it before she even accuses you.
Oh my god.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I like to make the the joke that it's his fault because after he joined, then it got deleted.
He knew it was coming. He knew it was
Yeah.
coming too. Oh, was that
Um,
frustrating at the time? Because I imagine like sometimes I've gotten like certain YouTube videos, they'll hit me with the email where it's like this has now been age restricted, and like I get so frustrated at that. For a channel like a whole server to be deleted, I would be so mad.
I was so upset because at the time when it got deleted around June, the end of June. So that was 6 months of people's messages, announcements. People had drawn me stuff that I had saved. Like there was so much that I was so upset. I could start crying because I think I cried myself to sleep for a good week because I was so upset. I felt like we had built like a nice community in there. Not that they still don't, but you know, obviously like people went and like I had never created on a Discord on my own before. So that Discord that was set up by the friend that I had that I shared with them. And so I was all on my own at this point. Like I had never started one. I had only ever been a part of them. I knew how to run one, but I never knew how to create one. So I went in cold turkey. I had an idea of what I wanted, better rules and restrictions, more channels and stuff like that. And I did it and I opened it and I'm so happy that that I finally got it all how I wanted to. It's sad because I miss how it was, but at the end of the day everything happens for a reason, right? So
hey. Growing pains and lessons learned. That's amazing. Have you found that it's easier to run a Discord like when you are the sole owner, or is it a little bit easier when you're co-owning it with somebody? What do you feel about that?
No, I find it way easier because now I don't have to ask anyone. Be like, hey, can we do this? No, I'm gonna do it. I just do it. Or if there's like a channel that I was like, no one's using this, I'm gonna delete it. I don't have to ask anyone. You know what I mean? So it's way easier, and it's been completely. I love it a lot more.
Yeah, for real. It's like those school group projects. Like there'd be times where I was like, God damn it, I don't want this to be a group project. Like it's just better off if I just do this by myself.
Let me just do it. Let me just do it.
Exactly. and there would be people that love group projects, and I was like, I know why y'all love it, because y'all not gonna do shit.
Exactly.
Hey, SD, thank you so much for coming. We are here and interviewing Solar Witchy. So, did you create any content before Twitch, like on YouTube? Were you a content creator before that? You said you were a video editor. I know you're in the industry, so we're going to talk about that in a bit. But did you make any solo content like on YouTube?
No, never. I only made content for other people and have only ever been behind the scenes. So I went to school for video production. I graduated from Penn State. And then I worked at MLB Network, where I actually won an Emmy for being.
We're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna definitely ask.
Thank you. Where I won an Emmy for being on MLB Tonight. So I've only ever really been behind the camera, and behind the scenes. Twitch has been my first ever outlet for being in front and creating content on that level. So.
And real quick, Derek says there is nothing wrong with being the dead fish in the group. Tia is offline, says Derek, you would be. Flex the Emmy behind you. Yeah, you got. Oh, we're gonna talk about that Emmy because I see it in the back. You're definitely not gonna get away without talking about that. I see it, yo, Derek. Thank you for pointing it out because that's definitely gonna come on the camera tonight. But real quick, was it nerve-wracking for you to, when you first started Twitch, to like be in front of the camera, to have all those eyes on you?
So, I've always been very shy, growing up, and I never thought, even like the major that I chose, like I never thought I would be like someone who was like in front and doing something like that. I was like, I'm better doing like the technical stuff, like I'll be behind, it's okay. Like I'm always like, I had so many friends who were in journalism and stuff like that, and I did a lot of podcasts and podcast editing when I was at Penn State, like talking wise, but never like really things that were in front. So I was really nervous. I was like literally just like when I first started, like I was super shy, like, but after a while, like, you get into the ebb and flow of it, and it becomes almost like muscle memory because it's so much different and I'm sure you would know, it's so much different than when you're in a room full of people and talking to so many people, or like you're being like a public speaker, as opposed to you're in front of a camera and you're talking to a chat. You know, it feels like it feels like reading. It feels like you're reading things that are people are sending to you live time, which is basically what it is. So it felt so much different, and I felt a lot more comfortable, and like I could see myself doing everything, and it was me controlling everything, and it just felt so much different from what people tell you how
what
it is.
Tia is offline. Thank you so much for the follow. And Solar, I will say that I feel like the editing also, like so I'm also a video editor and a videographer. So I feel like that gave me such a helping hand when it came to this stuff, just in terms of like knowing what kind of content you would be editing afterwards, because I imagine you spend a bunch of time having to do stuff for TikTok and doing stuff for Instagram or Twitter, and you like start to know, okay, this is the type of content that I'll be able to clip into like a 1 minute thing. Like it might be a 3-hour stream, but out of that, okay, I remember this at this mark, like at this timestamp, this was a funny moment, or chat said this and this, blah blah blah. So like that editing experience is also so helpful.
Right, exactly. No, it really is 100%, especially because so when I went to school and what I was doing at school, we were doing live broadcast stuff. So I was in a control room, and I was familiar with like scenes and directing live things. So it was all super familiar to me, and especially like with OBS, not even like slops, because I started off with OBS. I didn't go into slops. When I started with OBS, a lot of the features, the hidden features that they, for like TDs, like technical directors and stuff, I actually used a lot at first because it was what I was familiar with, and then I transferred to like just clicking scenes, and then all my friends and my community actually pulled together for my birthday to get me a stream deck, and now I use that, and it reminds me of when I used to be a TD and clicking things. So oh god, it makes my
that's
heart melt.
Amazing. Big shout outs to the community for that. That's amazing. That's the energy we need. And that's good. Did you switch from OBS, or are you still on OBS?
I'm still on OBS. I would
OBS.
never go back. I would never go back to slops, because slops is major heavy on your CPU.
Yeah, you went to it for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like OBS, and like definitely it's really good to have that back knowledge, because if you go into OBS like fresh with no knowledge of anything, like it can be very, very, very intimidating. So that's good that you had that technical experience. Now, talking about that, did you always know that you wanted to be like a video producer, or what made you go into that major?
So actually, I started off going for pre-med. So I was originally, I went 4 years of pre-med, and then
4 years.
4 years of pre-med, and in my last year, literally my last semester, the beginning of my last semester in January 2018, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not happy. I don't think I'm at anywhere where my colleagues are in their senior years. People had done research projects. People had worked with doctors, people have done so many things, and internships and fellowships, and I was nowhere at that level. And I was like, I don't know how I'm ever going to compete or do any of these things. But there was so much more that I was passionate about. I was so passionate about videos and social media and content and sports. I am a huge sports fan. I actually just came back from watching football all day. And
hey,
so,
this is your season right now. It's October, spooky season, football season.
Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. This is my season. This is my month. This is
your month.
Starting off with Hispanic Heritage Month. Oh, please.
Oh yeah. And that. And like about to hit the 1 year anniversary of streaming. It's big.
This is big for me. So I'm in my element. I'm so happy.
Hey.
But I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to change. And then I walked into the College of Communications counseling office, and I switched my majors. And from then it was all uphill. Literally, I got, within 2 days of switching, I got an internship. I got 2 internships. I met some amazing friends. I worked the sidelines of all Penn State home games. For football and for other sports as well. Then in my classes, like I excelled with video producing and editing and building shows, and I actually ended up building the first all girls female podcast for covering NFL at Penn State. Then me and my class, as part of a project, we started the first Penn State pregame show for baseball, and that's actually what got me my job at MLB. And so from there, I went right out of college, out of graduation, and I never thought I would do it, and it was like the best feeling ever.
Wow.
And I was so happy.
Yo, that is an inspirational story, because honestly, after 4 years of already being in school in a major like pre-med that is already difficult, like 4 years of that, to then decide like, you know what, I'm about to switch this. That's very, very inspirational. And honestly, like, so I was originally a psychology major before I did communications, but I only did 1 year of psychology, and I was like, fuck this is not what it is for me. Like, I'm not trying to write 27-page papers all the time. And like, after 1 year, I can't imagine 4 years. Like, I feel like at that point I would have been like, you know, just suck it up. This is especially like, I don't know if you ever had, like, did you ever have your family like tell you, you know, video industry is not the most reliable, especially in comparison to pre-med, which is a major and a career that is like, you know, we're always going to need doctors. It's like the most secure job you can have.
It's funny that you say that, because my mom used to say this to me all the time. She's like, medical field is very stable, and you're always going to have to find a job because people are always going to be sick, and there's always a need for doctors. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I mean, you're not wrong, but like it's medical field, trigger warning, like medical fields, especially with dentistry, emergency room hospitals have like the highest suicide rate in any career, because it's very intense.
It's the stress.
It's very stressful. As opposed to, I'm very much the kind of person that I wanted to go to work not feeling like I was going to work. You know, like, and when I went to school and I went to classes, I felt like I was going to classes, as opposed to when I switched my majors and I was doing all that, I felt like I was doing something that I loved. I was so excited to go to class. I was so excited to talk to my professors and meet and do my assignments, which was something that I always struggled with growing up. So I excelled, and you know, and I'm so happy that I would.
Yeah, good for you for really like believing like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what I see myself doing. This is what's gonna make me happy. And what up, Rudy? I see you in there. He's here. What up, Rudy?
Hello, everyone.
What's going on, Rudy? Welcome to the stream. It looks like what's the meme dog? The Shibas?
Oh, the Shiba. Yes, he does look like a Shiba Inu sometimes. Little
so
chunky
cute.
boy. The chunky boy.
How long have you had Rudy?
Rudy is 2 years old, and I got him on August 26th of 2019. So I've had him almost 2 full years now, right, baby?
Oh, that's amazing. You got him a couple months before the pandemic. That's the best time to get him. Having a dog is the perfect thing. Tsundere-chan, is he the same Dia as Chloe? Which day is he the same dog as Chloe? What kind of dog is Chloe? Tsundere-chan is my wife. What kind of dog is Chloe? I forget what. That's her mom's dog, so not our dog. We don't have a dog. Tina's dog. I don't remember. As Tina's Chloe. I don't remember which one Tina's Chloe is. Rudy over Steph, says Derek.
Yes, my chat tends to prefer Rudy over me, but he's a Pomeranian, so that's why he's a little hot right now. I put the AC on.
Oh, this is amazing. This right here, this is the thumbnail. This is the thumbnail for the stream. This is the perfect picture. Amazing. Yes, that one. Okay, yes, Sundere, it is. Very cute dog. So adorable. Perfect time to get it. LJ10 TV, thank you so much for the follow before the stream. I just want a quick story. I saw your username and I was like, oh shoot, I don't know if this is a bot, because I just finished doing like Commander Root and Seribot and all this shit, and like I was really worried. I was like, oh no, like, so I checked and then I saw like you actually had a stream. But dude, my bad.
No,
I didn't ban you.
He's a bot. He's a bot. Ban him.
It's a bot. Big bot. The bots have infiltrated. They defeated Commander Root.
Oh my God.
What's up, Rudy? Rudy is so cute. I can't even get past this. This is amazing.
He'll chill now. He likes to sit on my desk sometimes. One time he like he'll beg, he'll cry and whine to come up on my desk and just chill with me in the middle of me playing Valorant. And I was like, please, this is a comp match. I can't, Rudy. And then I had to put him up, and I was like, literally had him in front of me while I was playing Valorant.
And were you able to get the dub?
I don't think so. I don't think that day we were
No,
able to.
It's whatever. Derek says just cover Steph's face for the thumbnail and just have Rudy's face. You'll get more views. Tia is offline. Just ban LJ and Derek both at this point.
Honestly,
I can only ban the bots.
He's a troll.
And then going back to the whole video producer thing, I feel like especially Latino parents, Hispanic parents, like they are very much about like, you need to get a stable job. You need to get a stable job. You know, we moved to the United States to give you the opportunities that we never had, and so that you would have a better future than us. So like, that's always a tough thing. So I really want to commend you for believing in what you wanted to do and like listening to your heart and then going for it, because you know it's paid off. You got the Emmy. Did you, as soon as you got that, were you like, Mom, I told you?
You know what's funny? Like, so, I love my mom. She's the best, and I'm very thankful for all the opportunity that she's given me throughout life. She works very hard for me to be where I am right now. But so I actually got accepted into master's. So I'm doing my master's in journalism, and she got more excited of me going to do my master's than she did of me winning the Emmy.
Oh, really? I feel, oh, that's amazing. Parents always want you to keep getting more education.
Literally, yes.
To them, mom, like, more degrees means more success.
Yeah, to my mom, like, she would, if I can go get a PhD, she would love for me to go get a PhD. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I just got Rudy's hair in my mouth, sorry.
And what made you want to get a master's in journalism, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, because like most of like my people that I graduated with, they all had some journalism background throughout their 4 years. I didn't have any of that. So my last year, which I did a 5th year because I switched, I was just doing all technical stuff. No, I was all technical, and I wanted to be the most well-rounded producer that I could be, and I wanted to try and get that written part, and I wanted that opportunity because, and I'll say it was also due to being a part of Twitch, because I was like, this is so much fun. Like, I feel like I could extend this to being in front of a camera and being my own journalist on TV as well. So I felt like I had the personality for it, and I really loved it, and I could script my own stuff and do that for broadcast. So that was something that I was really, really interested in. So and that's why I wanted to go and try and do it. And
hey, well, best of luck. Did you start yet?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, I started a little bit ago. I'm taking a break right now.
Is masters like actually tough? I feel like bachelors, you know, you can get by. Like most people can get by with bachelors. Masters is like actually where you put the work in.
A master's is very tough. It's kind of like you meet once a week for each class, but like it's jam packed with like discussions and like assignments, and like big ones too. We're like, all right, well, this is how you do this is that. Now go find someone who is a Hall of Famer and interview them. You have to do that on your own, literally, and it's kind of like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, I'll try.
Wow, but that's like what you're actually going to be doing in real life. So that's the good thing about communications. I always thought it was very much about this is what you're going to do, and just go do it. You know, figure it out.
Yeah,
this is what you're going to do for what you want to do for your career.
Yep.
Can we see that Emmy? We got to see the Emmy.
Okay, I will show you.
We got to see it.
Don't jump down. You stay there.
Rudy, stay. Rudy plus Emmy equals award-winning thumbnail. The greatest thumbnail. It might break Twitch. There we go. Look at that. Wow, that is like an actual. Holy crap, that's amazing. What did you feel when you won that?
Oh my God, I don't. It came in like this massive box. So like, it's crazy because. So I don't know. Have you ever seen the process of how they make awards? But this is, and the inside is pure bronze and silver, and then they coat it with a thick coat of gold. So it's like heavy. Like I could probably knock someone out with this. Okay, Rudy, he's scared of the Emmy.
But thank you for coming, Rudy.
Hi, baby.
Tia is offline, says acceptance speech, and then Jenny says solar stand. W streamer,
God.
big W, Emmys. A.
New weapon of choice. Imagine. How did he die? He was bludgeoned to death by an Emmy. Okay.
Bashed by a very successful Emmy winner.
But it came, and I honestly wasn't expecting it to be as heavy as it was, and I picked it up. I was like, oh, this is it's taking me some strength.
Damn.
But I kind of was like, oh my Lord, I didn't know what to do. I literally didn't know what to do. I was like, I can't believe it, because I knew some of my professors who had been working in news and media for years had gotten so close to getting an Emmy, but never actually got one. And then for me to go right out of college, my first job, and win one was it was a very surreal experience. Especially because I was one of very few female Latinas that worked at MLB in my department. So I was very proud of myself.
Wow.
So, thank you.
Hey, that is truly amazing, and you are very young. Like, to have that already is fucking impressive. It is amazing to do. Did you continue with MLB?
So COVID hit sports, of course, very, very hard. COVID, and there was no sports, there was no baseball, there was nothing. So they furloughed a lot of people, and they did ask me to come back once stuff started to pick up again. But at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna continue with my master's and continue with what I'm doing and see if I can find better opportunities. Because I will say, like I said, I was one of very few females there. Sports production. It's very male driven. I had very few people that were like me. And it was tough. And there was not that I signed an NDA or anything, but like some of the talent, the on-air talent was creepy towards some of the other girls there. It was a toxic work environment. Although I love the people that I worked with, like my coworkers, my colleagues, like, were incredible. I met some of my best friends there. I actually just finished hanging out with my friends that I met through MLB. One of my amazing streaming mutuals who I actually was introduced to Twitch through him, still working at MLB. His name is Ryan. I love him. I worked with a lot of amazing people there. But the people that I worked for were not the best.
Oh no, that's what's sad when you and it takes a while to break that cycle of toxicity in those type of workplaces is very hard to do, and you just don't want to put up with that shit. It's obviously something that has to change, and the only way for it to change is to have more representation of people like you. But you don't want to deal with that shit. It takes a long time for things like that to change.
Exactly. So funny, because when I was there, right, you see baseball is predominantly Hispanic and is a sport that Hispanics consume a lot, besides next to soccer, of course. Mm-hmm. And I was pitching so much content. I was trying to get for us to do more Spanish related things, because Hispanics consume a lot of TV. I'm sure if we were to make more stuff, especially where that was on Facebook, that was Spanish driven, it could have done very, very well. But they were very set in their ways of being old school and catering to they wanted to cater to those 50-plus-year-old men, white Italian guys who still go and buy season tickets and watch the Yankees and are fans of Chris Russo and Mike Francesa, guys like that, who are very paid. So that's the kind of content that they were still going for, because that's who were still consuming it, instead of going after bigger markets and bigger demographics, like people who were younger, who are on social media like TikTok, and Hispanic people. So it was really frustrating. So
Yeah, they'll wake up to it one day, but you know it's very difficult to like want to be through those growing pains. Sundere Chan 24, how is the process of winning an Emmy? I had no idea how that works, but wow, that's amazing, Solar. That's a good question, Sundere. Like, what goes into that? Like, there's like a nomination process, or how does that work?
So how it worked was 2019 was the year that we won the Emmy, and it was for it was specifically Sports Emmy. So they have their own. So the title on it is 2019 Sports Emmy Award, and it was because we won. I was an associate and a producer for MLB Tonight. It won Outstanding Daily Show. So that was in competition with other channels at like ESPN, like Get Up or Undisputed with Shannon Sharp. They're not daily shows, but like things like that, like people like other networks that did daily shows. So everyone who worked on it closely got received Emmys for working on that show. So, and specifically MLB won it very well. It won it like that's not the word I was looking for. It won it because in 2019, I don't know if you follow baseball closely, but was the year when the Astros cheated in the World Series. So we covered that extremely closely, and it was like an everyday thing where we had something and we had a good coverage of it. We have a state-of-the-art studio as well as monitors, different talent, all these things. And like I said, sports is very male driven, so it's also one of our only shows that has ever had a female host on it, as opposed to we have other daily shows that are made extremely well that have female hosts but have yet to be nominated by an Emmy. But I digress. Emily Tonight covered it very closely and had it went into graphics, coverage, content, as well as hosts, veteran hosts, and efficientness and time. So we always hit our marks. We always hit our VODs and our SOTs, all these things. So it was a very robust show, and that's why it won in comparison to a lot of the other things. So what the Emmy went to everyone who was on air, as well as all our directors, our people who were in the control room, and of course our producers, and then associate producers, which was me. So, and that's how I won the Emmy. And then it goes kind of like how the regular Emmys go. So basically, like, I don't know, like the ones they have on TV, that's like, like for TV, like Best Actress, Best Show, Best Director of Show, those are actually pure gold. So they're a lot heavier than this one. And those of Sports Emmys are the ones that have a core silver and bronze. So the more higher up that award is, the more valuable the award is. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like how it goes. And you go on a list. So everyone, like, it goes for the Oscars as well. Like for the Oscars, if a movie wins best movie or best in show, everyone who worked on that show, on the movie, will get an Oscar.
Okay, that's dope. That's a good explanation, because I always thought about that. I was like, there's so many people that work on this, and you know, they usually have like a set group that goes up on stage and receives the award, and it looks like it's just one award, but that's good to know that everybody who's worked on it also receives one of these.
Mm-hmm. So let's say, for the most part, like if a movie wins like best movie of the year, it will go for directors, producers, and the actors in it. Then, of course, best sound design, those specifically will go to everyone who worked in the sound department. Then it goes to best coloring or best cinematography, everyone who worked in the cinematography department. But then it also falls off to, like I said, like best movie. So that's kind of like how it goes. So we got outstanding show. So everyone who worked on it, that was constantly on it, got that. But those who did only like logging, like looking after games, or like let's say someone who just was cleaning the studio obviously wouldn't get an Emmy, but it's people who were like diligently working on that.
Yeah, on the show. All right, that was a very, very thorough and good explanation. Thank you for that. We have now learned all about the award process. So you do a lot. How have you found the balance between, creating content, streaming, and then just real life stuff? And you obviously have education. Like, what's that been like?
Being unemployed definitely helps. But of course, I like to focus days on mental health. Like, all right, this day I'm gonna really focus on streaming content, and the next day I'm like, okay, I really have to focus on job searching and portfolio building and working on my resume and all these things. And other days just was focusing on school and my assignments and networking and connecting, all that. So you come in straight. I have very, very, very bad crippling ADHD. So this is how I kind of like try and handle my work assignments. So yeah, that's kind of
just
like how I built
that
up
balance.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Is there anything you haven't liked about streaming, or you haven't liked about Twitch?
The weirdos, definitely.
Yeah,
The weirdos who come by.
I imagine it's even worse being a female streamer. Like, I just dealt with, like, I don't know, there are certain people, like, I'll post something on Reddit and like I'll get a comment where it's like, I was expecting a good conversation, this sucks. And I'm just like, man, why do people not just scroll past things? Like, there are plenty of things that I'll just scroll past them. But that's always been annoying to me when it comes to content creation. You really have to deal with just like constant like harassment and just like haters.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've been very lucky that I actually haven't had any like real like people who come in and hate. It's more so people just being like weird. Like I remember I feel like this is a fever dream, but I'm pretty sure this happened on stream. I got up to do something and someone wrote in the chat, I wonder what her chair smells like. I would love to sniff her chair or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck?
What a weird fucking comment. What the fuck?
So weird. And I was like, okay,
Yo, that hurts my soul. Straight up, the cringe. Meaningless cosmic voice. The cringe that would go through my fucking face. Just, did you ban them? Like, what do you even do at that point? Right?
I think we did. Oh, I'm very lucky that my mods are super like ban hammer, which is what I prefer. But sometimes I'm like, wait. Let's have a conversation with them. Let's troll them. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you the way that you are? Let's unpack that. Why do you fucking smell my fucking chair?
Straight up. Like, what a weird fucking comment. That's so strange. Have you had any of like the bots like recently? Have you dealt with all the hate bots?
I am very lucky. Knock on wood again. I have not received any hate rate. I actually thought I was so prepared, and I have a whole like thing on my stream deck for hate rate. Just click. But the other night when I was doing my Reina cosplay, towards the end of it, I had randomly 6 people follow me all at once, and they were like weird, like alphabetical names. So I was like, oh my god, hate raid? And they're like, no, we're not a raid, we promise. And I was like, oh, okay. And
that's what I'm saying. You start getting paranoid.
Yeah, and it's funny because my boyfriend was there, and he was like, in your defense, they did all just follow at once. And I was like, yeah. It was like, it literally just like scared me. But they're chill. But like, it's like weird people like that. I had someone, it was really funny. So one night I was streaming, and I could actually, this fits also with the conversation. I had someone come in, and he was like, oh, you're really cute, I want to slide into your DMs. And I was like, okay, I guess. And then he ended up being like weird, and he's like, oh, can I send you a selfie of myself? I promise I'm really cute. And his friends were like, yeah, he's really cute. And I was like, no, and then Jelly, my she's laughing. And she was like, she has
everybody knows the story too.
She has a boyfriend, and he's like, oh, okay, sorry. And so I didn't think about it because he said sorry. He never talked again. And then I checked my Instagram. Chat? This is in my Twitch chat. Okay. I checked and then I went to go check my my Instagram. I don't check Instagram at all, so sometimes I'll have a bunch of DMs. And then I went to one of the crusted, and then he goes, it's the same guy. It was that same night. I literally, like, I checked the time code and everything. It was like a couple minutes after he said that in chat. He goes, "You're so stinky and pretty." And then he says,
"You're stinky and pretty?"
Yes, he says, "You're so stinky and pretty." This is me. I love Latina culture. Please let me smash.
What a gentleman. What a gentleman and a scholar. A true poet with words. I love Latina culture.
Oh, and ready, the selfie is him.
Oh, he sent a picture?
He sent a picture of himself. He literally sent a selfie. It was him in a sombrero.
Yo, that is the weirdest thing. I never understand why, like, guys are like that. It's just like, dude, do you have any self-respect for yourself? This is so strange. I love Latina culture. He's married with the sombrero. Oh no, that's it. Like, we're laughing about it, and it's good, like, to be able to laugh at it now in retrospect. But like, that's really fucking shitty that, like, female streamers have to go through that.
Yeah. No,
that's
it was so funny. At the time I was like, oh my god. But you know what's crazy is it was LJ Newsflash.
What a distinguished, the whitest looking guy too.
It was
LJ Newsflash.
It was really, but Latin culture, especially Latinas, were so like put on a that pedestal instead of being like, a lot of us have great personalities instead of being like sought for because we're loyal, we're hardworking, you know, we're super sweet. We're sexualized because we have like we're spicy, we're this, we're that, we have this, we have that. And you know, it's sad, but at the same time it makes me like, wow, like I'm proud to be Latina, but then it's like guys like this who make it so hard. It's like, damn, what the fuck?
straight up. Yikes Wazowski, thank you so much for coming through. Hey, 6 months already. Thank you so much for the sub. Welcome. Yikes. Django said, yeah, women in general got to deal with that. It's crazy the amount of stories that my wife used to tell me, like when she was on dating apps, like how much weird things that people would send, like people, like guys that would just send dick pics without like any provocation, just like, here it is, like just shooting it off, and it's so shitty. It's like a really shitty thing that happens. We were speaking about it recently, part of Hispanic Heritage Month, the way that the media kind of shows Latino women, and it's always just like super bossy, super spicy, just kind of a little bit of aggressive. Like they were talking about this movie where like this Latina woman was the one who just like killed everybody. Like it's either they're super spicy and like super sensual, or they're just like very like mad and like kills the guys. And it's so shitty that the media does that. Now getting into the Latinidad stuff, is Spanish your first or second language?
It's both. So I actually had a speech impediment growing up because I tried to learn Spanish first and English at the same time. So what my mom told me is, obviously, like, my parents knew pretty well their like English when I was born, but so they tried to speak to me both of them at the same time, English and Spanish, but my young underdeveloped brain could not comprehend it well, so my phonetics was very messed up. So I actually had to go to speech therapy for it, because there was things that I couldn't pronounce in English that are actually hard for Hispanic people to pronounce, like the th, the like, so instead of saying three, the number 3, I would say tree all the time. And where and were, like those kind of W's, which we don't really have in Spanish, was very, very hard for me. So they were like, okay, you need to not talk to her in Spanish anymore. She has to only speak English, which of course was the American schooling system. And instead of trying to work with my parents and helping me learn both languages, they just told me to eliminate Spanish completely. So I actually didn't really learn Spanish until later on in my life, fully, until like I was maybe around in middle school. But I did learn some things, I could understand it. And it's my second language, but I speak it at an intermediate level. I speak Spanglish fluently, let me tell you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's so much Spanglish. It's such a New York thing too. Like Spanglish is like just everywhere. What you're saying right now really seems to be just striking a chord in the chat, because Tia's offline says ESL gang, who shit in my tea, man, they did the same with me, rise up. Like that sucks. I didn't have that experience. I learned English first just by watching like TV. Like I watched a lot of Barney and like, you know, cartoons and stuff. And then I learned Spanish second, thanks to my grandma. Big thanks to my grandma for giving me like I would come home from school and she would have these like workbooks, nacho books. And I would have to like nacho. Yeah. Oh my God, nacho is iconic. Iconic as fuck. And that's how I learned Spanish. She would have me like write out like grocery lists in Spanish and stuff. Yep. And I did those nacho books. So I never had that experience with ESL. But I have a cousin who similarly had some speech problems when he was younger. And the speech therapist kind of said the same thing. Don't speak to him in Spanish. You'll confuse him. And now to this day, he's like 13 and knows no Spanish. Yeah. So that sucks because he gets so frustrated at family outings. He just does not speak Spanish.
That was what happened to me. And like, so what my family did was I would almost like when I turned around 10 or 11, every summer they would either send me to Colombia or to Ecuador. And I would just be completely immersed. And that helped my Spanish so much, because what could you do? You could only speak Spanish, like there was nothing else. So with words that I was struggling with to use, it kind of like drilled it in me to use it every day. Because I had no help to for people to be like, oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, you don't have to elaborate. No, they'd be like, yo no te entiendo. Tienes que saber what you're saying. So I'd be like, okay, I would go and look it up and be like, okay, this. So it taught me that's the best way to learn another language. But that was basically what it was. And so I'm fortunate that I was able to develop my Spanish a lot more over the years, and that's by going more to Colombia, more to Spanish-speaking cultures, and also consuming a lot more Spanish content. When you do that, you start to like learn it more. And it's funny because when I grew up, I actually had a lot of started to get like a Mexican accent, because I would watch so much Univision, which is mainly Mexican actors and Mexican broadcasters. Univision.
Gotta say it in that pronunciation. Univision.
Yep.
So, real quick, Janelli says, I'm upset that my family didn't bother to teach me Spanish or Filipino. I'm upset that they stopped with me. Django, yeah, that is upsetting. And especially when like people give you kind of shit for not like knowing Spanish or not knowing the language from your culture. It's like, well, how was I supposed to learn this? Like, it's either somebody teaches it to me or I just don't learn it. And it's really cool that your family did. The No Sabo kids. Yo, Tia is offline. I heard about the No Sabo kids from TikTok, and I was like amazed that this was like a kind of a derogatory thing to say to Hispanic kids that didn't know Spanish. I was like, yo, they're really making fun of people like this? Like, it's so shitty because it's not their fault. And I know it because my cousins, they get so frustrated, but it's not their fault in any way. But I know that my family kind of just like does give them a little bit of shit for not knowing it. And I'm just like, this really sucks. It sucks that they've made like a derogatory term for it. So you had that experience where you would go to, you said Ecuador and Colombia?
Yeah, one summer it was Ecuador, another summer it was Colombia. It was different, but I had a lot of cousins my age in Ecuador that I would hang out with. But when I would go to Colombia, it was mainly my older family, so my grandmother's sisters and stuff like that. But yeah, it was hard because I would go and they're like, oh, la gringa, la americana tiene su acento y todo. Ay, qué lindo tu acento. Oh, your accent's so cute. Like calling me American. But then it's funny because when I went to college or when I was in high school, people would tell me that I had an accent. I'm like, what accent? What are you talking about? English is my first language, bitch. Like, I don't know what accent you're referring to. But yeah, like it was always, and I'm sure this happens to many people. And like as I grew older, I start to meet a lot more people who were my age who grew up in the United States that were never Spanish enough here, never Spanish enough there, but never American enough here. And
oh yeah,
it's crazy because like there's so many people who speak Spanglish, it's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane the amount of people who speak Spanish, and it's
Straight
something
up.
you should be proud of. And I actually saw a video the other day where he was like, he was Colombian. He was saying it's so weird that like when you go to another country and like you're speaking in Spanish and like you have those like English words that you don't think about that are like a vacuum. When you say vacuum, when you're saying can you pásame el vacuum?
Mhm.
When you go to Colombia, they're like aspiradora. I'm like, what the fuck? Like aspiradora? No, it's vacuum.
Yeah,
You know?
yo, there's so many. So I only recently discovered this, but pamper is what I always thought was diapers in Spanish. Is just they just took it from the brand Pampers. Like Pampers is not the actual word for diapers in Spanish. They just kind of took it from the brand Los Pampers, and I just discovered that this year. But it's so crazy, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, like living between two worlds kind of thing, where you're not Latino enough here, you're not Latina enough here, but you're also not American enough here. And what was like the demographics of you going through school? Did you have friends that were also Latina or Latino, or?
So, so I grew up in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is a very diverse area, and I was very fortunate to go to elementary school where there were so many kids that are like me or different than me. Like, right? It wasn't even like, it was literally a mixing pot. Like in my class, I had Muslims, I had we had those who were Asian, we had Koreans, we had Indians. Like one of my best friends, when I remember, when I was younger, her name was Purnima, who was Indian, who was her family was from India. Then I also had a friend, Africa, who was literally from Spain. And I grew up with so many people in elementary school. When I got to middle school, this is before I moved out to Long Island, it was a private all-girls Catholic school, and they were all white. They were all white.
I know all about Long Island life.
This was still in Brooklyn. This was when it was in Bay Ridge. So I went there my 6th and 7th grade, and I was so culture shocked. It was like whiplash, because I went from like everyone like being similar to me, being very, it's sad to say, but bottom middle class. There was no really much attention to like what you wore. It was more of like, I don't know, just like being kids, right? You're just being kids. So I got to 6th grade and I had a uniform on, and like it was all these girls, and I was so shy to meet new people. I had never been a part of that before, because when I was younger, I was super extroverted. Like I would go up to people and be like, "Oh my God, you're my bestest friend now. Mom, come meet my bestest friend that I just met right now 2 seconds ago." Like I was very much like that. But then when I got to middle school, I was extremely shy, and I wasn't the skinniest. I also wasn't the richest. I had glasses and braces. I was a little chunky, and of course, I was the only Hispanic person there. The only other person who could semi-relate to me was this other girl who was half Puerto Rican, half Italian, but she identified more as Italian, of course, than she did being Hispanic. So she, we were friends, but like it was never like, she was never someone who stuck up for me. And there was many days where like I would be brutally bullied, like I didn't know what Abercrombie and Fitch and Hollister was, or Juicy Couture for that matter. When I got to 6th grade, and they're like, "You don't know what Juicy is?" I'm like, "No, what is that?" And so it was weird. So, and I remember so they were like bothering me about things, and it was all for being Hispanic. And one day we were playing like basketball on the recess field, or recess. Oh my God! Or wait, recess? Wait, what's the word? Yeah, it's recess, right?
Recess.
Yeah. And
similar to the chocolate.
Yeah. And that's why I thought it was saying Reese's, like Reese's Puff.
Reese's Pieces. Yeah, no, it is Recess. Like the show, like the cartoon.
Like Reese's, yeah, okay. And one of them like, "Oh, come on, Steph, are you a Mexican or a Mexidoo?" And I'm like, "I'm not Mexican. There's nothing wrong with Mexican.
A Mexican or a Mexidoo. Oh God, yeah. First of all, I'm not either one.
I'm not either one, but okay.
But that's kind of like the idea, right? That so many like American people have is, oh, well, you're Hispanic, you must be from Mexico.
Yep. Or like we would do projects where like where you have to be creative and like do things like I had to be in these group projects, and they would make me like the dirty like Mexican slave, and I'm like, what?
Oh God, that's fucking brutal as a child.
It was like it was bad. It was like awful. And then I was so upset. I was depressed, and then it started to make me hate being Hispanic. And I was like, what do like I don't know what like to do anymore, and it was super upsetting. And but then when we moved, so I was there for 6th and 7th grade, and it was really tough. But when we moved out here, it was worse. Like there was no one in my class that were
in Long Island. You mean?
On Long Island, there's because especially where I am, my town is very blue collar. It's very like I'm very lucky that we live in a part of my town that's not as like that. It's kind of a little bit more diverse. Like my neighbors are Mexican, and we have a lot of Hispanic people that live in my block and in this area. But more towards like the center, there it is all white, and it's actually my town is famous for like there was a black family that moved into that predominantly white area, and they actually got bomb threats.
Holy shit! Without too much detail, are you Nassau or Suffolk?
Suffolk.
Oh geez, yeah. Suffolk is like there's a meme out there where it's like Nassau County is similar to Queens, Suffolk County is similar to Alabama.
Yeah,
like
no,
it's two parts of the same island, so different, so crazy.
So bad. It's my town, like I remember when, and this is very illegal, and I don't know why, because we're on Long Island and everyone's basically white. When it came to the 2020 election and I went to go vote, there was people standing outside the elementary school where we went to go vote with Trump flags saying, "Are you voting for Trump? Are you voting for Trump?" Which is like, that's illegal. Like that's
so illegal.
It's voter intimidation. And they were just there. It was allowed. Everyone they just allowed them. It was insane.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all, honestly. So like we kind of have now the opposite stories. I grew up in Long Island. I grew up and was raised there, but I now live in Brooklyn. So I'm in the opposite end of you. I moved to Brooklyn, but I grew up in Long Island in Nassau County though. So similar vibe. My town was predominantly like Jewish, but a lot of white people. Even the people that weren't like Jewish, they were just basically white. There was like I
feel like I know what town you're from.
Probably, most likely. But I grew up there, and essentially like all my friends were white. So there's like this famous story my grandma loves to tell. When I was younger, she was like calling out to me like in front of the house or whatever. She was like, "Oh, ven pa dentro, come inside." And I was ashamed. I was like, "Grandma, don't talk to me in Spanish in front of my friends. Like, speak to me in English. I don't want you to speak like that." And she was like, "Oh, sí? Pues voy a ir a buscar la correa que habla inglés." She said, "I'm gonna go get the belt that speaks English." She was having no shit. But I was like, genuinely like, it's like almost a survival instinct when you're that young. You're just like, I don't want to get bullied. I don't want to get made fun of. I don't really want any attention on me. So I'm not going to bring any attention to me by speaking Spanish. I'm just going to try and lay low, speak English, and that's it. And I always felt a little bit of ashamed of that, which honestly made me like drift further and further away from Latinidad. Like there was a good period of my life where I didn't speak that much Spanish. I wasn't really at family gatherings and stuff. I was just hanging out with my friends, and I really lost it. And it was just like, because of where I grew up and the fact that I was like, yo, I don't want to get bullied. I saw Latino kids that would get bullied. They would be like, "Oh, you're going to mow our lawns? Are you going to be the one who mows?" Like shit like that, like referring to them as being Mexican and stuff, because all the landscapers on Long Island are Hispanic. Yeah. So that was really like a survival instinct of just like, don't bring any attention to yourself. Don't like be the person that people pick on. And then I remember people thought I smelt funny, but it was because of the adobo seasoning. It was just that white people don't know what those type of seasonings smell like. So everybody in my class was like, "This smells strange." And it's just like, no, it's just, it's the cooking.
Yeah, well, because like also Hispanic houses really don't have much filtration. Like we don't have like those insulate. Like so.
Fans.
The fans. So when we cook, obviously the whole house smells what we're cooking. Like that's just a natural thing. So like, and people don't understand it, because I remember when I grew up, they're like, "Oh, you don't have vents on top of your stove?" I was like, "No, what the fuck is that? That looks like the thing that they have in the hibachi places. What the fuck is that?" They're like, that brings the air out of the house, so the house doesn't smell like food." And I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" I've never seen that before. I didn't know. And I didn't know about that until like obviously later on in my life. And it's kind of like crazy. And that's like another thing. Like also like not only do they not use seasoning, but of course they're rich enough to have proper filtration in their house. So like it's
yeah,
like
I'll never forget. Like I feel like I relate so much to the story because my family was, moved here from Dominican Republic, so I'm first generation born here as well. They were definitely like lower middle class, maybe higher, like low class, whatever the below that is. But I would go to kids from my grade, their houses, and I remember my best friend. You walked into his house and he had the grand piano right there, like a balcony looking thing. His mom was still together with his dad. He had a sister. It was like the picture perfect, like white picket fence suburbs family. And like, I was ashamed. I didn't invite any of my friends to my house till I was like 15 or 16 years old. Like nobody was coming to my house because I had the more poor house out of all of my friends. So like it was always a shameful feeling to me. Yep. And that's things that you don't really think about till you're older, and then you could just be like, oh, like you don't control that at that age. If you're in poverty, that has nothing to do with you as a child, but you don't know that at that time. Is there anything that you wish you could tell your younger self now, like knowing everything you know now and being proud and orgullosa of being Latina?
I would tell them, look, it gets better. This is what's gonna make you stronger. Unfortunately, it hurts now, but like in the future, everyone's gonna want to look like you. Like you think about it now. It's funny. Like, have you ever gotten that you look white passing now?
Oh
because
yeah.
There's so many white people who want to tan their skin, get dark hair and big eyes, and be Hispanic. And it's crazy, but like back then, like having the dark skin and the jet black hair and the pin straight hair or the wavy hair, that's what now everyone wants that. But back then, that was weird. Like that was like really weird. And it's or like so I used to get like highlights because I was like, oh my god, all these white girls are getting highlights. I want highlights now, and it would make my hair look so bad because obviously Hispanic hair is naturally very dark and it doesn't take the color very well because it's jet black. So it was really sad because like I would like be doing damage to like my beautiful long black hair so I could please like these other white girls, and it's like, no, like be you, like don't like people are gonna start wanting to look like you, don't look like them. So that's what I would tell myself because it was hard. It was hard growing up, but even after like the bullying stopped, right, and like I started slowly becoming prouder of being Hispanic and embracing that. It was other things that started to come into play when it was when it wasn't someone trying to call me like a Mexican or something like that, or like asking if I was legal or if my parents were legal or these things. It was things like when I was in high school, like everyone would call, like if you were Hispanic, you were the hot Cheeto girl, or the girl that had an attitude, or the girl that would go get pregnant, or all these things, or the girl that was really sexual, or like was always looking to like fuck. Like that was like what the other thing was, and it was so like frustrating because I like, not that there's anything like wrong with those things, but like I was none of that, and I'm like, what are you saying? Yeah, what are you stereotyping? Yeah. But that was it's sad because that was such a thing, right? When we were in high school or like in our around our age, back in like the early like 2010s, like right, like it was so that was like a huge thing. Like in media to stereotype people because it was funny. It was so funny.
Pre Me Too, pre like, how much attention we now put to representation and to diversity. It was rough out there, and the media definitely dug into all those stereotypes, like everything about like Mexicans mowing lawns and crossing borders and all this, which is why you got so many of those derogatory terms like wetbacks and all these other things that people would say in school. On the other end, so you do look pretty light-skinned. I don't know if it's the camera. Sometimes people will tell me, like, I'm not this light-skinned. It's just the camera and the lighting and stuff.
Yeah, it's camera.
Did you ever get people thinking, like, you can't be Colombian? I thought Colombians were all dark or, like, black.
So it's funny because when I was growing up, my mom and I would always get stopped by, like, also by older men. Mind you, my mom and I look very young. My mom had me when she was 19, so where there's not much of a big age gap between us. So like they would think that we were sisters, but like the older men, weird creepy older men, would always stop us and be like, "You guys look so exotic. You guys are beautiful. Where are you from?" And I would be like, "I'm from here. I'm from Brooklyn."
I'm from
And my
Brooklyn.
mom,
What's up?
"What's up?" my mom would be like, "Yeah, I'm American. I'm from here." And he's like, "No, where are you from?" And
Jesus.
oh my god. So my mom has experienced a lot of things, because she doesn't look Hispanic. She actually looks Middle Eastern. Like she looks like she's gotten that she looks Indian. She gets that a lot. Filipino, Vietnamese, Greek, anything but Colombian sometimes, or anything but Hispanic. But so I've gotten that I've looked Filipino. People think I'm Filipino all the time. And I'm like, no, I'm Hispanic. If there's anything wrong with being Filipino, I'm like, I'm Hispanic. But I'd stopped a lot more now. But I used to get that like when I was in college all the time. But yeah.
That's so interesting that nobody ever passed you off as just being like Caucasian.
No, I'm very lucky that no one has ever passed me. Not until recently, we're like, oh, you could be white passing. I'm like, no, I can't. My whole life, I've only ever been being known as Hispanic or something else, or POC. I've never been. No one has ever mistaken me for being white until recently.
Till recently. That's so interesting. Meaningless Cosmic Void, thank you so much for the compliment. Your interviewing skills are great. Thank you so much. I would love to see you interview people as well. Meaningless Cosmic Void, thank you so much for being here. Gosh, being mixed Filipino and Mexican, everyone thinks I'm just Mexican. That's so interesting. And I feel like, so my uncle is Mexican. He's from Puebla, and I feel like there's a little bit of an Asian look to Mexican sometimes, like with between the hair, the very long black hair, and then sometimes the eyes. So maybe that's why. But for the Skewed Rooster, yo, thank you so much for coming. For the longest time, people thought that I was just white, because they thought Dominicans were all black. Like they had this idea. I guess maybe they saw like David Ortiz or Jose Reyes. They would see so many people in the media that were from Dominican Republic, and they're extremely dark skinned. But there is just like a huge variety when it comes to skin tones in a lot of Latin American countries, like, you know, from white to black to everything in between. There's so much, but we never get taught any of that in school, really. Like those are things that we don't really learn.
Yep.
Did you ever not feel Latina enough?
It was when I was around a lot of like my Latino friends who grew up a lot more in that culture. Like like when I was in high school, all my friends that were Hispanic were either immigrants or like they knew Spanish fluently, and they were very in that culture. While obviously here in my house we only speak Spanish, really. Like my grandma understands English. I can talk to her in English, but she responds to me in Spanish. So like I don't know, you can't really hear in the background because noise suppression, but my grandma's watching Telemundo right now. Like she's watching her she's watching her shows.
Love that.
Yeah. So she's in her room watching her shows. Like downstairs my mom will be watching Telemundo, of course, también. So like it's kind of like that. I've been in it, but I've never really been a part of like how do I say it? like that deep Latin culture, like here on Long Island. I've only ever been a part of it in Brooklyn, and it's so much different than it is on Long Island, right? Because like you have like the people that are from Long Island that are associated with being Hispanic, they're from the hood. Like they're from CI, or they're from Brentwood, or they're from Freeport, and all those kind of places. And I was never like that. So like it was just like different for me. So like my mom, her best friend, I remember they got drunk one night and they got into an argument about how my mom's friend was yelling at my mom because she said that my mom was raising me white. And my mom was like, damn. What? How am I raising my daughter white? And it's crazy because like not that she was right, but like I had only really ever been around white people like in school. So like I talked like them, like I You know, I didn't like walk around like with like hoops or anything because my mom would be like, "Don't wear hoops because people are gonna think that you're like a ghetto Latina." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah,
And it was true.
I remember the saying too. I don't know if you heard, the bigger the O, the bigger the hoe. They used to say
Yep.
for like those hoops. I used to remember people saying that all the time, which was shitty because my sister used to wear those, and I was just like, "Fuck!" Like, no, this fucking phrase is so toxic.
Yeah. Yeah. So like it was for a longest time. I didn't own hoops until college because I wasn't allowed to wear them. It was crazy. Yeah. Because like people would think like, oh yeah, she's like I wasn't allowed to wear any Air Force Nikes either because of the stigma behind that as well. And like, but it was funny because I remember I would see like, and I would hang out with people and like, yes, they knew that I was Hispanic, but they're like, oh, you don't talk like you're Spanish. You seem very well educated. I'm like, what does that mean? That's such a backhanded compliment.
The worst.
That's such a backhanded compliment.
That's horrible when people say that. It's like, what did you expect like me to speak like? Like, what do you expect Latinos or Latinas to speak like? Like, that is really the worst thing. It's so gross, meaningless, cosmic void, and it's something that I've heard from other Latinx creators that I've spoken to. Is like they'll say that they'll be like, "Oh, you speak so well. Like you speak so you're very articulate.
You're very articulate. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, that is the worst thing that you can hear.
Oh my god.
And it's like, what did you not think that like we go to college, that we get educations, that like those microaggressions straight up? Yeah. The nerve of some people, it really is awful, and it's such a shitty thing. And then when you would go to Ecuador or Colombia, it's kind of like the same thing, because I went to DR when I was like 12, and it was always the same, like el gringo está aquí de los Estados Unidos. And like when you move to the United States, everybody, your family in those countries think you're rich. Like they don't know, it doesn't matter what class you're in, it doesn't matter what you do, they automatically think Los primos de los Estados Unidos, they're rich. Please, can you send us stuff? And like for the longest time, it was just like people thinking that cousins when I went there thought that I was rich and stuff. And it was like, you don't get it. You don't get it. There are middle class people in the United States.
Yep. You don't know how many times my mom would get messages from her cousins, be like, "Mira, prima, estoy vendiendo este box de chocolates. Está riquísimo. Por favor, me mandas como $200, porfa, y te mando todos esos chocolates. Mira, qué ricos son." And my mom was like, no, really, I can't. I'll send you 100 maybe, but like.
Oh, you froze. Oh no. Solar. Hey, so we're gonna have some technical. I was thinking, ooh, no, Solar. I'm gonna try and call back. Let's do quick disconnect. We'll see if something happened on her end. Let me just send a message. Thank you to everybody who's here. Internet died probably. No, this was such a good interview too. Like we are just getting into the cusp of how good this is. Thank you so much, everybody who's in this chat. Hey, you froze. Should I call back? We definitely. Oh, hey. Hold on. Let's get this.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. Hold on. Let me pop this out. No. Oh, this is where it gets confusing. Hold on. Let me figure out how to do this. 1 second.
No, my fault.
No. Oh, I got you. Hey, you there? Oh, no. Her internet has been acting up. That face though, yeah, straight up. All right, that's the new thumbnail. She'll be back though. I could listen to y'all talk for hours, honestly. Thank you so much. Tia's offline. Not again. We back though. We back with
no, we're here.
With lower pixels, but we still good. We Gucci.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I haven't actually really been able to stream all week because my internet has been acting up so awful. Like it'll just completely go down, like for a whole 4 or 5 seconds, and it'll go back up again. It's just awful. Yeah,
that's tough too, because you do longer streams, I feel like.
Yeah, I do 3-hour streams, but
Derek said she's actually inside of the McDonald's playground right now, not at home.
Yes, Derek.
I'm in the ball pen, the ball pit. What were we saying before this? Damn, I feel like we were on such a good point. Oh, about the family thinking that you automatically have money. Yeah, it's literally like they think United States is just like, that's it. You've made it. You're rich. That's it.
Mhm.
There's so much to it, and I really do like that you like proudly say like orgullosamente Latina, orgullosamente Colombian. Like we need more of that, because for the longest time I think people don't recognize like how much like, you know, first generation people had to either hide it or just not be proud of it, just not really like wear it on their sleeves like proudly. It's something that you like kind of just have to put into the back, because oftentimes you're just surrounded by people that are not like you, so you just want to fit in. As a kid, it's tough to like, people tell you, oh, you know, standing out is better than fitting in, but like it doesn't feel like that way when you're getting bullied. So you're just like, I just want to be in the background.
Yep, exactly. You want to kind of just like sink into yourself and just be like, don't perceive me. I am no one. Don't even talk to me. But like at the end of the day, like it's important to be like proud of who you are. It kills me. Like, so it used to kill me because like my ex-boyfriend's he was Jewish, and his dad was half Panamanian and half white, I would say, because like the other part was more like European. But he didn't grow up speaking any Spanish, not knowing a single lick of Spanish. But his mom, my ex's grandma, knew fluent Spanish, because obviously she's from Panama. And he would always be like, yeah, my mother didn't raise me speaking Spanish because she didn't want anyone to look or treat me differently or look down on me because I was Hispanic. She wanted to only raise me to be white and identify as being white and European only. And I thought that was like so depressing. I'm like, oh my God, that's awful. Like, but you know, that's a thing that happens so much. Like even my mom Hispanic, obviously born in Colombia. She immigrated here, and she's a dental hygienist. So she sees a lot of patients, and like, she'll hear an accent, right? And obviously when you hear an accent with someone, like you want to help. You want to be like, oh, yo hablo español, puedes hablar en español. You can talk to me in Spanish. And there's many times where she'll be like, oh, I hablo español, I can talk to you in Spanish. And the people will be like, no, what makes you think I want to speak Spanish? I'm talking to you in English. I speak English very fine. And
so like, why are you so defensive?
Okay. And that's actually how my ex's grandma was. Like when I met her, she was like, no, talk to me in English. I only want to speak English.
Oh God.
And like it's sad. That's why I say like you should be proud to be Hispanic, because obviously we are a minority, but like we're also a majority. Like there's so many of us. Like there's power in numbers. Like the more proud we are, the more barriers we break, we start to become and push through those like stereotypes and
For
like
real.
Be industry leaders, right? Be bosses, be CEOs, be presidents. And I think that's super important to instill in those who are young, and like say, hey, like even if you don't speak fluent Spanish, it's okay. It's always something that you can learn, and if you don't learn that well, that's more than okay too. It's culture is everything. La cultura, right? Like being together, being united with each other, and just finding ourselves and being like that we're all similar, right? Like that's what's important in raising like in future generations and in younger kids.
Beautifully said, Janelle. It really is so sad to be ashamed of where you're from. Django says, I'm not getting goosebumps, you are. It was such a good quote. There, right there. We got it for Instagram tomorrow. I got the social media clip down packed. Do you think that you would be able to do a whole stream in Spanish?
I would be able to do it in Spanglish. Yes.
Spanglish.
So it's funny because like I get these moments, and I don't know if it's like this for you too, where I get nervous to speak Spanish, where my American accent really comes out. But then there are other times where I'm like, okay, I'm more confident. People won't be able to know the difference. Like I've been in Colombia once, like, and it's like a build up, right? When you're doing it for so long and you practice and you have that rhythm going, you're fine. So like I was in vacation in Cartagena once, and we were on the beach and everything, and I was talking, I was ordering, I was doing my thing, and they're like, oh, de qué parte de Colombia eres? And they're like, what part of Colombia you're from? I'm like, I'm American. They're like, really? I thought that you were from here. But then there are other times where I'm like stumbling on my words and I'm getting tongue-tied and I don't know how to say, I don't know, cat in Spanish. Like it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that. Or like I'll be speaking English. I'm like, fuck, what's the word for it in English? Like it's like stuff like that. But So that's what would get me nervous because I'd be put on the spot. I used to have an option where you could redeem channel points where I could only speak Spanish for 5 minutes, but then I would get so like flustered, be like, estoy en la biblioteca. I don't know say. Like I would get so nervous.
Yo, so relatable, straight up. LJ, I know the feeling. So relatable. Some of the most relatable stuff because like I feel like when I speak Spanish, oftentimes I have to plan out what I'm gonna say in advance. I'm like, okay, this is the sentence. This is how you translate it. This is how it's gonna come out. And then, like you said, like sometimes you just get very comfortable and you can just keep speaking it, especially when you're drinking. If you're drunk, it's just like, hey, puedo hablar, y puedo seguir así, digo esto y no importa, y hey, ¿cómo están todos? Vamos, vamos. But then other times I'm just like, tía, y si tengo que usar, and you start thinking it, and then it gets to these like words where you're just like, shit. This has never been in my vocabulary before. I've never said overalls. Like, I was trying to say overalls once, and I was like, overallcitos? It's like, there's just no way to, like, figure it out because it's just not in your vocabulary. Tia offline says, I love listening to Steph speak Spanish. It's so similar to Greek. Very comforting.
I love Tia.
That is such a great compliment. That is amazing. I really do feel like I can relate to so much from this. My mom is also is a dental hygienist, so that's extremely funny to me because
that's sick.
So many similarities. But it's the same thing. Like my wife has told me before, like you should do like an interview in Spanish, and you should do this for like because a lot of her family, all of her family, only speak Spanish. They all live in Colombia. And she's like, you should do an interview in Spanish so that, more people can listen, they could check it out. And I'm just like, I don't know if I can. I'm going to like, I'll be able to say basic stuff. But when it gets to like, I think about an interview like this and speaking articulate and speaking like, about like deep topics and conversations, I'm like, I'm gonna get tongue tied. I'm going to come off looking silly. I don't know if I could do it. So like, that's always been the problem.
And it's not just you. Like, it's actually, I remember I was talking, with my friend who's a speech pathologist, and she was Hispanic, and she was saying, she's like, a very common thing that develops in Spanglish speakers, like bilingual speakers, is getting tongue-tied. It's like a big trait, and like while it's a huge thing, like almost like a huge talent, being able to speak two languages. Obviously, it comes with it's pros. I mean, it's cons, where you will get tongue tied on things. It happens because you grow up, and your brain is trying to do two things at once, right? Like speaking English and translating. There are times where, like, right when you speak English, you don't think about what you're saying. You're not thinking about translating things, but as you start to get comfortable, it's like the same thing with Spanish. Hay palabras que puedo hablar en español perfectly fine. I could say them in Spanish completely fine. I'm not translating anything. But then when it comes to that point where you're trying to translate, and especially when you're on the spot, it's kind of like with stuttering, and you get tongue-tied, right? You're hearing your voice two times at the same exact time. And that's usually what happens when people stutter. What happens is they're hearing their voice back, and then they stutter. So it's like, do you ever like accidentally start to get feedback from your microphone and you hear yourself, and it's like a little bit delayed, and you're like, you can't continue to talk because you're hearing yourself. It's the same thing when people who are bilingual, especially Hispanic people who and they try to say what they're saying and they can't, and they get tongue-tied because they're trying to translate, and they know the word, but then they don't know the word at the same time, so they get tongue-tied. So it's very interesting.
That's some good science behind it. That is extremely interesting. Yeah, that is some great science behind it. And I used to hate in school whenever people would be like, can you speak Spanish right now? And I would be like, well, what do you want me to say? And they would be like, I don't know, just say anything. And I would be like, this is the worst. Like, putting people on the spot like that really, really sucks. But as we come to the end of this interview, I do want to put you in the hot seat for a rapid round real quick. I'm going to start shouting things out. You tell me dope or nah, right? Or you can say no opinion on them if it's something that you're interested in, or if it's something that you're not interested in. So I'm just going to shout things out, and then first, just quick.
Okay.
All right, ready? So ready. Harry Potter.
Dope.
Lord of the Rings.
I hate Lord of the Rings. No.
Okay, so nah. Tequila.
Hell yeah.
Four Loko.
Oh, no.
Pineapple on pizza.
Fuck yes, absolutely.
Okay, anime.
I love anime. Yep, absolutely.
Hey, country music.
I do like country music, even though I'm from New York.
Little Nas X.
Love Little Nas X, absolutely.
Hey,
King.
okay, now these are like either or. So beach or
Okay.
mountain hiking?
Beach.
Nintendo or Sony?
Nintendo.
Hey, Nicktoons
never
or
owned-
Cartoon Network?
Oh, wait. Ooh, that's hard.
They both
Cartoon
have
Network.
bangers.
They both have it. Cartoon Network.
Cartoon
One.
Network. Halloween or Christmas season?
Halloween. Oh, 100%.
Hey, all right. That's all I was able to read. Oh, actually, football or basketball? Last one.
Football.
Football.
Easy.
Hey, very, very, very good rapid round. That was dope. So, biggest advice to future streamers, and then last two questions. Biggest advice to future streamers that you would give, and as well as what do you have planned for your stream? Like, what do you want to accomplish with it? You say you're in your masters. Like, what would you really love to accomplish with your stream? What's like the ultimate goal and vision that you have?
So my advice first to future streamers is being a part of other communities, not just only consuming stuff of yourself and being focused on your content. Like some of my best friends I've met, and some like I've met from like other communities, and just going and scrolling my recommended or browsing page and just meeting people like Melmy. I met her because I was originally a viewer of her stream for a while before she even knew that I was a streamer. Because I was scrolling through the Valorant page and I was looking at girls who were playing Valorant. Because honestly, I don't know if my community has really noticed, but I kind of really only support, not that I don't love them, but like support like POC females or POC men. Only. There's not much white guys that stream that I support, but not that there's anything wrong. I just think that it's very important to support POC streamers and content. But I so I was looking for girls who were streaming, and I found Melmy and I loved her. Lychee I found because she was recommended to me on Twitch, and I absolutely love her, and she's one of my most amazing friends. Cornbread I met through the show. I could go on with my list of people who I love and support and appreciate, and I'm always Duff's another person who was my first raid ever. He's a Jamaican streamer from Toronto, as he says, Toronto. Toronto. He's amazing, and they're all incredible, and like being a part of their communities has been amazing. And they always come out and they support me, and that way it feels like you're not alone. And I met Derek through Hover. So like I've met so many amazing people through streaming. And I think that's the most important part, is like forming that community, forming those friendships, because I genuinely think that people who come on my stream, like they're my friends. Like I love every single one of them, like with my whole entire ass cheeks. And yeah, and that's my best advice, is like going and being a part of other people's communities, and being friends there. And for me, like personally, like I'm trying to get my internet to get better. But I have a lot of things like I want to add. Like I'm trying to add a Rudy cam, because Rudy, this is his crate over here, so he always loves to come chill here when I'm in my room at nighttime. So that's like my main thing that like he has, and I would love to put a camera in there with some lights, so that people could see him. And yeah, that's basically what I want to add. I'm trying to also save some money, get my job, and move out, and hopefully like it could be a little louder and stuff like that. This month I want to implement a lot of like witchy stuff. Like I want to do like tarot card streams and do scary streams as well, like with scary games and all that stuff. So I have a lot of stuff coming for this month. So hopefully when my internet gets better, I could do that more. And yeah. So that's
hell
what
yeah.
I have to say.
That's amazing. Would you like to be like a full-time streamer? Like I feel like it's something that a lot of people don't say they want to do, but I feel like most streamers would love to get to that point if they could.
If I could, oh my god, I absolutely would. If I could make a constant, so I think that the best thing is, my goal is comfortably paying bills and having extra with streaming. That'd be the best. But like as of right now, I love my profession and I love what I do, and I would love to get more established in my career, and do this as, of course, as a part-time thing. But either way, like no matter what, like I love streaming, and like I also like love having my full-time job. Like I think it's very possible to be a full-time professional as well as a streamer as well. So yeah, I think it's that was something I would love to do. Absolutely.
Hey, I can't wait to see more. Please plug in everywhere people can find you. Let everybody know how often you stream, your schedule and everything. Not that it feels like everybody in this chat knows you and loves you already, but anyways, plug it all in there.
I stream Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, but this month I'm going to change it up a little bit, and I will announce it in my Discord. If you go to my channel, you can do !Discord and join the Discord, where I do most of my announcements. I hang out in there. We play Valorant. We play other games together. We hang out and chat until 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and we chill. But and then like we were just talking about what's better, McDonald's or Burger King. So I don't know.
Which one's better?
I think both suck, but I do like Burger King fries. That's the only thing I like.
I like Burger King chicken nuggets as well. I think better. Maybe because there was one that was very close to like where I grew up, and I used to always get their Burger King chicken nuggets. So like it always has a special place in my heart. But Wendy's chicken nuggets over both of them.
Over both, 100%, absolutely.
Both. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really I hadn't gotten to speak to you really before. I've rated your channel a couple of times, but you have so much love in your community that I would get some comments in there, but there was a lot of people talking, so I've never had this opportunity to get one-on-one really get to know who you are as a streamer. So this was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely, and I will absolutely 100% be back. Anyone who's come so far, if you haven't dropped a follow already, please drop a follow. Sabe, you've been amazing. I love your content, and I will absolutely be back. You have a lifelong friend, of course, in me.
Oh, for sure. Hey, hell yeah. You are more than welcome anytime you want to come on this stream. Hispanic Heritage Month next year, we will also get it on. We will also get it more popping than we are this time. And hell yeah, I can't wait to see more of your content.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
Hey, have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
All right.